Hi, do you pay attention to yourself so that you wouldn't burn out in life? And that goes in many ways. Where you're doing some spiritual practices, where you're working with people, or doing any kind of job. A lot of people will try to put in efforts into, like, hey, I feel like I can give it to someone, contribute, give that love, give that attention, take care of someone. And like for me, I've burned out quite a few times. Well, twice mainly. But I see like a lot of people who will just try to do their best to contribute, to give to others. And it doesn't matter in whatever kind of shape or form. But it's that part of us that is like, hey, there is something I can give and I will do it for others. And partly it's what we want to do for others. And the other part is like, what can we get back? Or what do we get back? Or what do we even expect to get back? And so it goes in many ways. Like, let's say in sessions that I used to do, I know like, hey, I have some abilities. I have learned several techniques that have changed my life, that have changed several others, whether it's just like removing entities from one space or getting rid of soul contracts and other things. Working with people, I know like, hey, there is something I can do. And I love that idea, love the idea of, like I can try to change their life. But the burnout happened when it was session after session after session after session after session of people don't want to change. They don't really want to do anything. And saying, fix me, but I ain't going to change my life at all. And I've met too many people like that brought that somewhat of disappointment. And not like everyone's to blame. Like I had expectations where, like, hey, people will feel the changes in their life. People will feel the entities removed. They will feel better. They're going to be happier. And it gets like they, like they get a session with me and they're like happy and chipper and they get some realizations. And then they go back to the old things that caused the issues. And they're like, nah, so I'm like, too many of those made me sort of like, hey, I want to take a break. It's just like, it seemed like it's not worth it anymore. It seemed like what I'm doing is not helping. But that was because I had too many expectations for myself of what I can give, what I can do, without paying attention that there are limits, and I did not knew how humanity is. I did not know that some people will not want to change, that their issue and their problem is their solution. It is basically convenient to not change, to be stuck in the same old habits because lots of reasons. It's, hey, they might get some sympathy. They might be able to complain about life and express that anger and sadness and anxiety and frustrations and not a lot of other emotions that are built up. They can blame people. They can be in certain situations where they can do or not do certain things. And it's just like allows them to be who they wanted to be or became. And a lot of people are not even aware of that, but they're just stuck and it's their comfort zone and it's convenience. And getting better requires getting out of the comfort zone. It requires to change and it's hard. So I didn't know it back then. And I was just like really working hard from my perspective and not getting it, kind of like, this kind of killed the buzz. Same with like making videos, one is like, hey, people are like, Ville, share your techniques so that we could be like you. And I have one video after another, where tons of techniques and explaining things in detail from my perspective. And they're like, well, where is that special technique? Because everything else you mentioned is like, it's kind of, we know it, we heard about it, we're not doing it, but we want that special technique that's going to change your life. I'm like, no, it's the basics, it's the foundation. Take care of your body, breathe, do this and that and that. And then, like people like, nah, don't want to do that. Don't want to work hard. Don't want to practice. I just kind of want to chill and take it easy. And then find this one special thing that's somehow magically going to change my life. Like, that's not how it works. It's just the basics. Doing one thing after another, or four simple thingies, and practice over and over again until it brings results. It's, so there's a lot of variations. And now that I'm going or like learning massages, I'm becoming aware that like saying it's exactly the same thing. Like I haven't done it too much. I'm practicing, learning several techniques, but even before going there, I know like, hey, I need to know what would be my limits? What can I do for a person, and what is it that I cannot do? It's like when a person comes to me, I need to ask a question like, why are you here? How can I help you? Like, what do you expect? Do you want to just relax and chill? Like, I ain't gonna do anything. I got this little coupon and do me, and that's it. Or would you like something life-changing? Would you like to get better? And so, like, I think a lot of these questions need to be asked from like asking those kinds of questions by like from other people, and at the same time from ourselves, to find out like, hey, do you know your own sort of standards and values and your own limits, where you should say, okay, like, I am noticing that I'm not getting back the energy, the attention, the care, or anything like that would mean a lot to you. And if you're not getting that response, is it really worth it to you? Like, you might come in with the intention of, I want to change the person, I really want to help them. But if the person doesn't want to receive help, they're going to be like stuck, and like, you can do whatever you want, try absolutely all the techniques, and zero results, or more like they're going to be happy for 1 day or 2, but it's temporary. And, if people don't want to change, you're not going to change them, no matter what kind of techniques or words you use, like, ain't happening. So, like, I wonder what it's like in your life, because to me, I'm becoming more and more aware of it. I'm starting to pay attention, and just, it's kind of like putting myself first in a way where, like, hey, before I do that kind of work, before I give all of me to others, I need to make sure that I don't burn out, that I have the energy that would be pure, that wouldn't be ruined, that wouldn't be hardcore and all, like physical bodies also, everyone's different. So we need to look at how far can we take it. I know some people who gave their heart out to finish several projects, where it was like just translating or something else, and they put tons of hours, just did a whole marathon of work and all, and that's it. It's like having your favorite music or a favorite snack, and you just love it over the top, and then you have it a bit too much, and then you hate it with all your heart and never want to have it again. So it goes in like lots of ways. It's not just some consumables, it's also a way of life. Overdoing it, or maybe like, it's gonna, like, if you're not ready, if you're not taking care of yourself properly, if you don't define things and don't know the limits, then you might push yourself into a place where you're gonna quit for good and never go back, and that sort of thing. So, just sort of like talking and dropping it out there. How, like, what do you pay attention to? Because it has a lot of variations where this can be applicable. And, for me, like, spiritual work is totally out there. And like, now learning massages, it's like, first things first, like, how can I help you? What do you expect from me, and everything else? And like, learning those things, I can see how much of myself or the efforts I need to put. If it's just a little relaxation, easy enough. If a person wants to change, then we can go deeper and try out tons of little things. But if there's none of that, there's no need to go over the top, because people might not even want it. They might not want that change, might not want that help, or the thing you can give, might not want the energy. And if we're not looking at those things, then we're basically constantly giving, and are being left with empty hole and nothing. And when we don't get it back, it's kind of like this great stop. And for some people, when you constantly give and never really get back properly the way you need to, it creates that stop in your life. Like, I don't want to do this, but it also brings us into that boredom, or like, I want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And there's the agony too. Like, people very fast, where they're stopped, where they don't get enough, where they constantly give and never get back properly, like to what their standards and definitions of getting back would be, then they get into this suicidal thing, like, give up, nothing matters anymore, like they're completely empty. And without that kind of energy to live, people are like suicidal, depressed, and then they're stuck. They get stuck in that very part. So yeah, it's just important to pay attention. And I'm learning this, paying attention in my life, but also thought like I might bring it up in your circle. If you're doing something where you feel like you're giving, you're working your best, or like, you're doing your best, but how much are you getting back, and is it worth it? And do you pay attention to try to take care of yourself? So there's that. if you feel like sharing your experience, leave that in the comments. And if not, well, see you next time. Bye-bye.